How you doing? Now, I'm a software engineer, which means I'm pretty good at making games. Anyway, I was scrolling YouTube the other day when I came across this video. Now I remember this game and it sparked a bunch of nostalgia, and looking at the comments it's clear to see that people felt the same way. Therefore I decided that I'll remake it. Problem is I need to turn this 2D cube into a 3D square, which will be done with the help of Unity. By the way, if you don't know what this game is, then first of all, haha, you're a loser, and secondly, it's only the greatest Flash game ever made. You get to play as a stickman, you get to run around, you get to skateboard, you get to get a job and make money and drink at the bar. You know what, let's just make it. First thing I decided to do was strap myself to my chair to play the game for several hours. However, this made it quite hard to use the keyboard. I actually did play for a while, but I ended up procrastinating and watching multiple tutorials on how to tie a Windsor knot. Now I thought this would be a useful skill, but it turns out that I'm no better than before and still can't tie my own tie. Anyway, I started off by making the buildings and environment. Ended up with this nice little town from the original game. Not bad. Now, I told you that I'm a software engineer, which unfortunately means I can't just code a model into existence. I did, however, find this free model on CG Trader which kind of looks like it's got death in its eyes. There we are. Now we don't have to look at his scary face and it looks more like the original character. Then thought we needed some animation so it doesn't just slide across the floor. Now I could buy one of these stupidly expensive motion capture suits, but that seems a bit silly, so I decided I would film myself doing the animations that the character would have. I then used this to go onto Mixamo and download some pre-made animations instead, then a bit of animation mapping and coding later and I was good to go. Now, you probably thought that movement was pretty slick, right? Well, good, because I took someone else's code and just added minor improvements to it. Next was to create the inside of the buildings, so if we drop below the floor here you can see... I'm sure that's fine. But here are the insides. I quickly modelled these and gave them some cameras so that when you end up walking into a building, something actually happens. The interfaces for these sections were also fairly easy, since the original game was so simple. I just recreated them. I was going to have the inside of the buildings so that the player could walk around and interact with the different things, but frankly, I couldn't be arsed. Now, I know that we're all fond of taking a small time of our day to help those that are less fortunate. So naturally, we need to add our favourite homeless character into the game. All I did for this was copy the player character, change the colour of his face, and then sat his ass down after I hit him with the game. Now, before I rattle off what each of those buildings do and why they're so cool, let's look at some of the nice attention to detail that I added. Firstly, the original depot sign uses the same pattern to flicker, which is boring. So instead I choose a random letter in the sign without repeats, then a random amount of flashes and a random amount of time between the flickers. Once all are done, the sign turns off and resets. And now it looks like some jittering man dropping an Oppenheimer in the toilet. Next, the bar and the shop both have signs that light up in turn, which is easy enough by running through the array of objects and changing the materials. Now you may know the casino has some sparkling effects in the original, and they also made their way over in the form of particle effects. It even has one running around the top. Finally, if you get hit by one of these rocket-powered cars, then just like the 4 lines, you are dead. Now I can show you the buildings and how the insides are used. So every time you walk into the door of a building, the cameras switch out for the correct insides and display the right interfaces. For example, walking into the apartment shows the room where you can sleep and read the angry YouTube comments. In McSticks or the office, you can work your life away and make enough money to buy cocaine off the guy in the alley. In the bank, you can deposit your money or take out a loan. Now, since I am big lazy, you can just take out infinite loans with no repercussions. And with this money, I'm going to buy lots of coke. In the store, you can buy smokes that you can give to the skateboard dude. So now he will give you your skateboard so you can move around faster. The only catch is that it's in exchange for his life, since he dies of lung cancer from all the smokes you gave him. Now, my favourite is the bar, where you can waste money on beer or get into a fight with some random guy who probably shares the same drug dealer as you. Finally, there's a pawn shop where you can buy useful items, such as an alarm clock if you want to wake up earlier, or maybe even a gun. That's right, a gun. So now if that homeless guy tries asking for one element off the periodic table, I can make him a counter offer that he can't refuse.
I have become evil, the mercenary of death.
Anyway, that's the game. If you enjoyed this, subscribe. If not, subscribe anyway, but just press the button with anger instead.